we see a lot of kids in our clinic, so we're probably 70% of the population we see are teenagers or younger. So from 6 months old through to sort of teenagers, and so it's a very, very common part of the practice. That's why people find us, because they've kids have got some unexplained issues going on, and quite often we're the third or fourth person that's kind of seen them, because the kids are pass sight tests, no problem. They're past their screenings. They seem to be able to see in detail quite well, but then they're just not performing up to potential in classroom sort of situations. And so there's this question mark. And some parents have and even teachers have an intuition or a feel that maybe it is a vision thing, and so they keep going to sort of try and find something deeper. Others, it's parents are quite surprised to find out that it might be a vision problem, because they've got a teacher who's got some experience at seeing other kids have these problems, and they're referred in. And often parents will go, "I'm not quite sure why I'm here. The kid seems to be seeing fine." Well, then what's the concern? Oh, well, he's not reading well in the classroom, or he's making mistakes with copying, or we're seeing different parts of the day. He's performing better in the morning than in the afternoon, those sorts of things.
So, like, what are the common types of classroom behaviors that might be misinterpreted as attention issues then, when really there's something else going on?
Yeah, or not being able to stay on task, becoming easily distracted. And I group them into what we call the performance symptom categories, where the task is visually uncomfortable to do, but the actual discomfort doesn't reach the conscious level of a sore eye or a headache or blur or anything like that. And it's almost like the person sort of retreats or backs out of doing that work because internally they're feeling uncomfortable. And then what happens in time for some of them is that they kind of associate any of that kind of work as being unpleasant, and so then they start to avoid. And so that's where the laziness comes through. It's this learnt response to kind of go, I don't like doing that, so I'm not going to. And I don't think it's a conscious decision. It's just the brain going, I'm not feeling comfortable with that, and so therefore I want to avoid it.
And so how can teachers tell the difference between a genuine inattention issue and a child who is just visually struggling?
That can be a tricky one. Some of the things they might look at is being able to pay attention very well on some things that maybe aren't so visually intense, versus when it comes to doing something like written work or reading. You'll get some kids where they've learned to read quite well and can have some minor vision problems, and it doesn't get in the way. But when it comes to, say, writing, there's a marked difference. So a marked difference between reading and writing could be something that we see. And sometimes it can be really difficult to know, because some of the symptoms that we see in functional vision problems are very similar to some of the things that you might have seen on the Connor scale, which is what they used to use to assess attention deficit. And so part of the procedure of finding out whether a child's got attention deficit is making sure that the vision's not, how much of vision might be contributing to some of those symptoms. And so that can be a tricky one to do. But if you've got variable performance across the day, or the child starts reading okay, but it's by the third page they start to falter. So like a fatigue component. So that could kind of be suggestive of a vision problem. So probably inconsistency across different domains, as opposed to being sort of distracted and inattentive the entire time.
So teachers, you think, should be on the lookout for certain patterns that might indicate that there are visual challenges happening, or is it realistically something that teachers could potentially spot early on?
Yeah, look, it can be across time of day. If the child gets some other signs around more physical behaviours, so eye rubbing, sort of squinting, a lot of the time the headaches that some kids get in the afternoon is blamed on not drinking enough water. That's a very common one. And so you kind of go, well, if you're getting headaches in the afternoon, just don't immediately think it's a dehydration issue. That could be a sign that it's a vision problem. So you've got those sort of things, that the physical signs of discomfort. Hopefully, that's one that you can kind of, if put it this way, if a child shows a physical sign of discomfort, I mean that ticks the box for you quite nicely. It's those ones where you kind of go, oh, why aren't they concentrating? They seem quite bright. One example might be that you talk to the child about a particular subject or topic and they just get it. But when it comes time to putting pen to paper, that's when they struggle. And that's part of those inconsistencies that we talk about.